Job number 2023-0202-2. We're accessing the drain through a 4-inch PVC cleanout tee located next to the laundry tub. Counter is at about 103 feet. We've located this position in the city road. Right now we're looking at a pipe that has water. It's full of water. We can see a tree root mass sitting there. We've cambered or snaked 120 feet, so we've gone through this point, but there's some water sitting here nonetheless. Pipe material is 6-inch clay. As we back out, we'll go up a depth change here, and we'll raise out of the water pool. And we can see the water pipe is sitting there full of water for some reason with that tree root presence. It looks to be possibly another 5 to 10 feet at the most to the center of the road from this locate point, because we located the pink X right here at the top of the offset. So it's not very far, but there's a mass at that. Something's holding water at that last little bit. Have a little bit of water running in the laundry tub to observe flow. Very small tree root penetration at 90. Off to the left. Very, very small tree root, 87. Small tree root, 84, 85. Tree root at 82, 83. Very small tree root, 79. Moderate tree root, 77. Tree root, 75. Tree root, 73. Hard to tell without doing a little more cleaning, but there may be a fine fracture here at 73. Tree root, 71. Tree root, 69. A little bit larger tree root presence, 67. Some tree root kind of behind some white grease at 64. At 63, a little larger off to the right. Tree root at 60, a little larger. Tree root 58. Tree root 56. Tree root at 54. A bit larger mass at 52, probably about 70% blocking. Tree root 51. Tree root at 47. Tree root 45. Tree root 44. Tree root 42, a little change in direction. A little larger mass here, probably got 50% blocked on the top portion, 41. Tree root 39. And right here it looks like we have our main cleanout perhaps. Looks like there's a Y connection at the top. It's a little dark, but there nonetheless. Has some groundwater leaking in, we can see steadily. And it looks like we have tree root growth not just at the joints here, but intermittently through the top. We can see quite a bit of it coming through. we see the roots running with the pipe along between sections. We can see here a Y off to the right, that would be for the floor drain at 27. And we'd also see more tree root growth here. Loose mass of tree root from snaking, just kind of got drugged back on the snake, but it's not attached. One only little tree root here at 17. Going up the base of the stack. Goes from clay to cast iron. And then the stack's been updated to PVC. Access through the PVC stack next to the laundry tub. Push pause for a minute and did some drain snaking. We're out at the pooling section. Water has cleared up a bit while doing some investigating. We see this pipe completely full of water. Sewer cable is in the drain. Along with the camera, trying to understand why we're hitting a stop point here. It doesn't look like much more than about 5 to 10 feet from here to the city main sewer, but yet we are experiencing pretty deep pooling water and something stopping the expanding blade cutter from progressing. Video being continued after an initial pass to see what the sewer looked like after restoring flow. Since then we have gone in with an expanding blade cutter to trim back roots. We are now at the connection to the city main sewer. We weren't able to reach this point before. Now that we got all the debris out of the way, we are able to get the camera all the way up to this connection point. Looks like the city main sewer has been relined. Backing up out of the main sewer, the pipe looks like it's concrete, and then transitions to clay. Tiny little root there at 110. We have a little bit of water running in a laundry tub to observe flow. A little bit of fracturing there, which makes sense because we have some sagging. So there's some stress fracturing happening on the pipe itself. 109. As we back up here, we start to submerge into the water. Pooling here, 107. 107 is the downstream end. Pooling gets progressively deeper, tapers deeper. Water is relatively clear, and we can see we don't have any debris causing the pooling, so it must have been, the pipe must have dropped a bit. You can see the horizon line of the water there. The pipe looks quite full at this point, or at least halfway full. We can sort of see the horizon line on the sidewall, so it's a pretty significant dip. As we back up, we lift up out of the pool, so the upstream end is at 101, so 101 to 107. This is also a depth change to a slightly shallower depth, sewer in itself is somewhat shallow, about 4 to 5 feet down, still in the road at this point. Minor rip penetrations left. A lot of it has been cut back quite nicely. Another rip cut back. Another rip cut back. Tree root dangling from the top, still cut back quite nicely. Looks like we got a little tiny spiral fracture starting on the bottom, curving off to the left. 77. Tree root cut back nicely. Bit of a fracture happening on the left-hand side from about 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock position. F75. Looks like we do have a bit of a fracture on the top, going from about 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Camera's a little blurry at the top with some film, but that's there. 73 feet. Would cut back nicely. Would cut back nicely. Would cut back as nicely as possible. We've done forward and reverse rotation through all of these joints, multiple passes. Looks like we do have some lateral fracturing here along the side there, about the 3 o'clock position. It looks like it continues through the next segment, and it looks like we actually have it on both sides here, left hand and right hand. So that's from 63 to about 65. Tree root cut back nicely. Cut back, tree root cut, looks like we have another fine fracture spiraling from the left hand side down towards the joint. At 57. Cut back. Tree would cut back nicely. Tree would cut back. segment of fracture happening on the bottom from about 7 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. Just a little chunk there that's C-shaped. Tree root cut back. Tree root cut back as well. Tree root cut back. Tree root cut back. Thick taproot remaining. So it looks like we have possibly a T on its back. It could be a test T or a connection of former connection of the gutters. And it's followed by another connection here. That must be the inside main cleanout, which is 36. So there's two fittings kind of close to each other. All that tree root was cut out pretty nice. Interestingly enough, there were some kind of tree roots dangling down along the length of this section. I don't see any easily visible fractures, so that must have been tree roots growing down through this T fitting, but kind of hiding it before. Don't see any visible fractures through this section. Piping is underneath the basement floor now. Y off to the floor drain at 26 feet. In the video, our access is through the 4-inch PVC stacked cleanout tee.